All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have Elijah Knoll of American Teeth here today. What's going on, brother?
Hello.
So where are you you hanging out in LA right now?
Yes, I'm in LA.
Nice. I'm in Los Angeles myself. I'm actually staying at a hotel today in downtown because some repairs at home today. So if this isn't, a cool looking living room in back behind me,
It's pretty cool
this is
though.
a
I don't
hotel
know.
room. I know the walls actually look like they have like some texture on them, but they
Mhm.
look a lot cooler in the camera than they actually do. Your room looks pretty vibey too, my friend. You got some cool green lights going on, matching the hair there.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep.
I think green's my favorite color, so I think that's a nice aura to have around you all day.
Yeah, it's been my recent aura. My It was my favorite color when I was a kid, and then I switched to blue, and
Yeah,
and now I think I'm back to green again.
yeah, yeah. I feel like it's always weird though choosing like a solid color for a room though, because I'm always like this will be my vibe then whenever I'm in the room. But green's probably one of the best colors to vibe with. I think so.
Yeah, my wall is dark green. I don't know if you can tell because it's dark in here, but my actual wall is painted dark green too. And that was something that I did during at the beginning of quarantine and all that back in the summer. So I don't know. I think I that was way before the hair.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it probably influenced the hair. See, you're in this all green room, and now it's like it's seeping in
It's
and
seeping into
subconscious.
my
Yeah,
my
yeah,
whole being.
yeah. So tell us, man, because you're on Fearless Records, you've been releasing all these successful tracks lately. But I'd love to just if we could take it back and let us know how you got into music to begin with. You do you have some first memories of when you kind of felt like you were into music or wanted to pursue music?
Yeah, I started playing the classical violin when I was 2 years old. Actually, yeah, two and a
Oh,
half years old.
wow.
So I got into it super early, by way of my mom kind of getting me into it, and stuck with the violin for a while until I was about 15. And that was a whole, that was a whole process. I kind of hit a point when I was 14 where my teacher asked me if I was ready to start practicing to basically audition for Juilliard, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. At that point, I just didn't think that was going to be my path, and I didn't think it was very cool.
Hmm. I mean, you must have been fairly decent, to say the least, if you were playing, if she literally put a violin in your hand since you were two. Was that a musical taste kind of thing? Like, you weren't looking to play that, formal style music. You're maybe into more kind of like the rock pop lane that you're kind of hanging out in right now.
Yeah, I think I had some type of instinct that I wanted to make pop music because I always loved pop music in general.
Sure.
And so, as much as I appreciate my upbringing playing violin and attribute that to my ability to hear melody and even sing and everything, really, um, it just didn't really fit what I felt at the time, and I'm glad that I made that choice to kind of switch into learning the guitar and getting into you know songwriting and all of that, singing.
Yeah, I mean, your musical foundation, like I said, must have been really solid, starting to play at such a young age. So, because of that solid foundation, was it probably a lot quicker for you to pick up a guitar than maybe the average teenager or, person in their early 20s or something like that?
Yeah, I'm sure that I had some type of heads up there because
Yeah,
of just having heard and regurgitated music for so long.
yeah. So tell so was that like around like late teens, like you're getting ready to graduate high school where you kind of made that decisive action of I'm going to pursue pop music rather than, go to Juilliard.
That was when I was that was just a little bit before high school. So yeah, late middle school.
Okay, late middle school then.
Yeah,
So,
they really get you into that Juilliard program early
yeah.
if you're serious about it and all that. So
Right, right. So in high school, were you then linking up with like buddies and starting to play kind of more pop orientated music?
definitely, Yeah, I was going to a lot of local scene shows, and I was going to friends' parties and playing Green Day covers on the drums and like
Nice.
trying to sing and play the drums at the same time. And just, yeah, getting into all of that. And also was really into a lot of singer songwriter stuff around that time, like John Mayer and Jack Johnson and all that, that type of thing.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, so I was definitely really getting into just wanting to cover songs that I liked because I wanted to learn the guitar that way. So, I would look up tabs online and things like that. And that's kind of how I got into singing and playing the guitar at the same time. I started guitar lessons, probably when I was 15 or so, and stuck with that for maybe a year, but I had trouble focusing on actually like practicing the exercises, and I just didn't feel excited about that.
Sure.
I always found myself just doing the part of the lessons where I could learn a song that I wanted to sing and play with.
Right, right.
And the more technical stuff was just not doing much for me. But,
Yeah.
I'm sure I could benefit now from some of that technical stuff. And I definitely went in and out over the years of jumping into the technical stuff a little bit. But that was never, and really still isn't my priority with guitar. It's more a vehicle, a way to complement my singing more than anything.
Right, right. So do you consider yourself more of a songwriter, do you think, than more than anything else?
I would say, yeah, singer first, songwriter second,
Okay. There you go. So,
everything else grouped in this
right,
blob
everything
of
else, jack of all
things
trades,
I
kind of.
tried.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, playing some Green Day, it's funny to. How are you? How was that received by your parents? You're playing the violin one day. You're like a nice middle school kid or elementary school kid playing violin, and then you're playing like Green Day songs on the drums while singing American Idiot or something. Did they think it was cool? Were they like, yeah, do whatever makes you happy, or were they kind of like, oh, I wish were they a little bummed that you kind of went a different direction?
They were definitely supportive, and I know like my mom. I think about it now because I would just go down to the basement and they bought me a drum set, so I had a drum set down there, and I would just like turn on the strobe light, turn on the fog machine, crank up the radio, and then just like play as loud as I could to it for like hours at a time. And it was like an unfinished basement, so it was just concrete. It wasn't like furnished and absorbing any type of sound. So the
Yeah.
whole house was probably just screaming loud.
Uh-huh.
And they never really gave me shit for that. So I'm grateful for that. My
Yeah.
mom was pretty cool about it. I think she, from the beginning, was supportive of me doing music. So, I'm lucky that I had that situation.
Totally. Yeah, that's great. So tell us a little bit about how you went from, doing a lot of cover songs to learning to kind of put out your own stuff.
When I was a senior in high school, I was introduced to somebody who he was probably in his early 40s or so, but he had a recording studio and was a talented songwriter and had a lot of connections with a bunch of other musicians in the area. And so I got linked up with him and we started working on some songs that I had just been kind of penning by myself on the guitar. And I did experiment a little bit with um, one of those older tape machines, those where you would
Like the
record to
eight
the
track or whatever, or
eight
the
track.
yeah,
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 mine might have even been a four track. It
yeah,
was an eight track. I think it was
yeah,
like with the little mixer.
yeah. Cool.
So I had done a little bit of that on my own, just experimented with that. I had also downloaded some, you know, I want to say, was it Audacity or something?
Yeah.
Is that the program?
Yeah,
Audacity?
free program called Audacity if anyone wants to download it for free.
Yeah. I think I downloaded that at some point and I was messing with that and I was trying to like record my drums. But anyways, I got connected with this guy, Tom Acousti, and he really helped me realize and helped me learn like what went into actually making a record. So um, I think we were also paying him to teach me that, which was well worth it.
Yeah.
But he was really helpful in just kind of showing me the ropes and showing me what, yeah, went into producing a song. So I ended up putting out my first recorded single, like officially on iTunes when I was, I want to say 17 or 18. And that's kind of what got it all started and what gave me the confidence to continue to do that and really felt like, oh, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, you had a good start there because you're only 17. You've created a track. You've already figured out how to get it, into the digital platforms. Um, so how did it go with that first track? Was did you find success? Did it find an audience right away, or did you then have to learn a little bit more about marketing and actually getting people to listen to your music?
My friends loved it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
um, yeah, I think I had like, yeah, I definitely put that on MySpace.
Uh-huh.
It was on Pure Volume, if you remember
I
that.
do remember Pure Volume and yeah, of course, MySpace.
Yeah, it never like blew. I didn't have one of those early success stories of having my song blow up big time on MySpace, but I
Uh-huh.
definitely hoped to.
Right. Right.
But no, yeah, I had it pretty much everywhere I could get it at the time, and it was on iTunes. So I was like, oh wow, I'm actually selling my music outside of just passing CDs out to friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, burned CDs and all that. And I actually got I want to say, you know what? I made an EP shortly after that first song came out with the same guy. Yeah, it was a full EP and made and printed actual CDs for that, physical copies. So yeah, that kind of got me into the next stage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool that you got that figured out early too. I feel like it's more common knowledge now because the distributors have made it a lot more user friendly for people to put out their own music. But however many years ago, when Pure Volume was still rocking and MySpace was, it was a little bit like it was a little bit more exclusive to have your music on iTunes and kind of some of the digital streamers. So that's cool. You got it figured out. You start pressing CDs. So tell us a little bit about how you developed from that first go, that first EP that you pressed, to where you're at now. With these great songs. You Fearless Records found you, or you found them. Tell us a little bit about from there to there.
Yeah. I moved to Chicago after I left my hometown in Maine, Portland, Maine, and went to school in Chicago, in downtown Chicago. So I met a bunch of other musicians and songwriters and other artists, creatives, and really got kind of plugged into that network in downtown Chicago, which was really great for me. And then I started playing. I went back to the cover songs on the side as well to make money.
Mm,
I would go out on the street and play in the subways and on the street, and then there were some sandwich shops that would hire me during lunch rush to play music. So I really was like on my cover grind again.
yeah. Would you actually make like decent money? It's called bussing, right? When you're
Yeah,
out,
busking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, busking. Like,
Mhm.
would you make some like decent cash, like doing it?
Definitely. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I interviewed G Love from G Love and Special Sauce. I think it was him some months ago, and he was telling me he did that and used to make like decent money doing it. And it's like that's such a great thing for like a young musician to just be able to take a guitar out onto the street and like come back with some money.
Yeah. And it was good practice too
Yeah,
for performing, for interacting with strangers,
yeah.
for actually just technically singing and playing the guitar and learning songs and having those soak in. And yeah, I'm grateful for that period of time. And at the same time, I was studying music and music business and stuff at school, and so that was kind of cool to have both sides be, the just being out in real life, just putting myself out there and seeing what happened. Then I had YouTube kind of popping for a little while at the same time, and then I was in school, like kind of like technically studying stuff too. So it was interesting. I was kind of hitting it from all sides at that time.
Yeah, you had the theoretical, the practical, and the digital all at the same time.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
when you said you had YouTube popping a little bit, does that mean you were putting up some of these covers that you were playing and getting a little bit of traction on some of those videos that you were throwing up?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had a nice little run on YouTube in the early YouTube days
All
before it
right.
got very oversaturated. Yeah, it was cool. It was like when I was when it was like really working for me, I felt like it was like a very organic thing. It felt like less algorithmic and stuff, which was cool. So that was like a cool time for the internet, for me
Yeah.
on the internet
Yeah, I
with
just
my
spoke with
music.
another artist a couple days ago, and since has millions and millions of streams now, but she's a famous violinist who was also talking about the early days of YouTube and how it was just if you could kind of catch the wave back then, you could really ride it.
It's
Just
like
like
TikTok now.
exactly,
Yeah.
I was about to say like just some of these newer platforms that pop up. If you could catch the wave at the right time.
Yeah. So that was a cool time with YouTube and all that, and then yeah, and I stuck around in Chicago for a little while and continued to. I was playing like shows of my original music as well because I was writing and collaborating a lot with other artists and producers in that area and like in my sphere and making pop music, and so that was really fun playing events and playing shows at a lot of the local venues like Shuba's and Lincoln Hall and Double Door, Subterranean, those types of venues. So
Yeah.
kind of hit all those venues
The
and
whole scene out there. Was there a reason you chose Chicago? I love Chicago. A lot of my family's from Chicago. Was coming from Portland, Maine. Was there a reason Chicago? Was it kind of was LA maybe too far for you, or and New York too close? So you're like, this is the biggest city, which is kind of far away enough, or was there something in particular about it you liked?
um yeah, for me it was kind of between New York or Chicago, and I couldn't afford to live in New York at the time
Okay.
and couldn't afford to go to school there unfortunately at the time. So
Right.
but I saw the school in Chicago and it kind of grabbed my eye and it looked like it was going to be a good fit. And I'd never been to Chicago and I knew I had one cousin there, so I went and visited him. And I one day I remember it was like the day you like go to check out the school, and I just like had flown out there by myself, and I was like, I'm just gonna go take the train in, downtown and just figure my way around town and just like see what if I like the city. And
Yeah.
it just felt welcoming. It was good to like if I was going to a big city that wasn't going to be New York, it still felt like a big city, but it had that like Midwestern attitude, which I wasn't really familiar with, but I knew felt like good. So it
Mm.
was cool. And it was an art school that I went to. So I was like, I just looked around and I was like, everyone here seems like, the type of person I want to spend time with. So I'm
Yeah.
cool to be here,
Yeah.
That's kind of how
Totally.
ended up there.
Totally. So you're playing around town. You're covering all bases, like we said, and so tell us a little bit about how you went from there to catching the eye of Fearless Records.
Yeah, so I moved out to LA about 4 or 5 years ago at this point, and I was out here doing a bunch of different things. One of them was I guitar teched on actually Dreamers tour when I first moved out here. So I
Oh,
went on
okay.
tour with them as their guitar tech because I was friends with them, and that was kind of just a fun like tour experience, and
Yeah.
did that. My friend Colin was in a band called the Mowgli's at the time, and he took me on tour with them um, out here, and yeah, started just writing with a bunch of other artists and um, doing my own stuff on the side. And I eventually got linked up through a writing session with Colin Britton, who I now make music for American Teeth with.
Yeah.
And when we started working, we kind of just hit it off, and it made a lot of sense. We realized that it was just easy for us to create together, and we had this kind of sound that was exciting to both of us. So we took a couple months and just wrote songs for, just wrote as much as we could, and that was I think 2018. It might have been
Okay.
2000. Yeah, 2000.
It's a
No,
couple
that was 2019. That was 2019 for sure.
couple years ago. Yeah.
Yep, because that was 2019, and then yeah, we had been kind of going to different labels and talking to a couple different labels, and Fearless was one of them, and they heard everything we were doing and were really stoked on it, and then ended up going on tour to open for Dreamers that fall. Put out a
Nice.
couple singles around that time, and then yeah, by the end of the year, things were kind of slowing down, and yeah, we were talking to Fearless and a couple other record labels, and then the pandemic hit, and Fearless swooped in and was like, "Hey, we'll sign you to a record deal if you're down." And I was like, "At the beginning of a pandemic, yeah, for sure."
Hell yeah. 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 I mean, working with someone like Colin, he's worked with, produced for All Time Low and A Day to Remember. So, some of the labels must have, at least, combined with your songs, must have been saying, hey, obviously they know it works,
Right?
and,
Yeah,
and it's cool that you were just, a guitar tech for Dreamers. It goes to show, you do one thing and it can lead to other things down the road.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a firm believer that any experience can lead to what you're going to. It's not always just like the clear path. What you think is going to be that gets you to the next step, or gets you into the touring thing, whatever it is for you.
For sure. So speaking of Dreamers, you guitar tech, then go on tour, and then you recently just dropped a single with them called "Still Not Dead," right?
That's right.
So then it led to a collaboration as well. So very cool with Dreamers and West Period. Uh,
Hmm.
Very cool song. And actually, but it's funny. I saw an ad for that song maybe a couple months ago, and I remember it because I was listening to it again, just getting ready, getting in mode for our interview, and I noticed the art because the art was really cool. Kind of the GIF you guys had, you were using to promote it with kind of the skulls. So I really liked that. So I remembered it when I listened to it again. So you guys are doing the right things. You're in my algorithm apparently.
Amazing. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, and you've had a big hit with Twin XL, Barred Out. Very cool video, cool song.
Thank you.
You've been dropping, pandemic or not, you've been dropping some tunes, huh?
Yeah, that's what's got me through all this, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and we're gonna make sure that this comes out right around the time when you'll be dropping your new track, One of Those Days, coming out at the end of February here. You want to tell us a little bit about that and what to expect?
Yeah, I'm stoked for that one. Yeah, that song is essentially just about waking up and having a terrible day.
Yeah.
It
Uh-huh.
was just,
It's one of those
um,
days.
exactly. Yeah, that was one that was written, over this past year during the pandemic, and it was a session with myself, Colin, and then another writer was on Zoom. So yeah, it was. Yeah, it kind of came together pretty quickly, actually. This one.
How was that? Hanging out with one guy and having another guy like come in via Zoom writing. I mean, obviously you made it work, and it sounds like you're stoked on the song. Um, was it? Tell us a little bit of how that's different and how you made it work. And I mean, is this something you're like, hey, I should do this more often, even after the pandemic?
Sure. Yeah, I'm writing for a lot of other artists as well, so I'm pretty acclimated with Zoom sessions.
Hmm.
Um, I don't prefer to do them, especially for American Teeth. For my artist project, I'd prefer to be in the room with Colin, because we just work best that way.
Right.
In this situation, I was in Colin's studio, and the other writer was on Zoom. But for me, it's it works sometimes and it doesn't work other times. That's kind of
Right.
how I feel about it.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it's definitely different. I prefer to be in the room with all parties involved,
Sure.
if that's
It's
possible.
right. I feel like the technology's almost there
Hmm.
where you kind of, but it's just not, it's not quite there. I feel like, where you can grab a guitar and you can really hear what it sounds like, or, just that immediate kind of feedback, without kind of having to guess, what it's going to sound like
Timing
once
and
you
all
add it in
that.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Sorry,
go ahead.
what I was gonna say, what's cool about it, don't the one thing that's cool about it is that you can just like have a session. Like I had a session with a kid who was in Iceland one day. I had a session with some guys who were in Amsterdam one day, and like
Yeah.
so you can just it's very easy to just collaborate with people around the world, which is, that's pretty cool. I would rather be in Iceland or be in
Yeah.
Amsterdam, but like in the, for the sake of time and energy and all that, it's pretty cool that you can just kind of just tap in and get a song that way.
Sure, sure. I mean, especially it works especially well with interviews. Interviews we're just kind of chatting and we got the visual. Even then, I'd
Right.
prefer to be in the same room. It's the energy is a little bit different, but yeah, for it's working out for us, and it's
Yeah,
where you and me are just a couple miles away from each other. So
that's right.
so
Yeah.
maybe next time we'll do it in person. But Elijah, man, you've had some great success already, so congrats, and you're putting out some bangers. So I guess a lot of people would probably like to know, and we like to end our interviews by asking, if you had one piece of advice for aspiring artists, what would it be?
Stick with it, um, and try everything until you figure out. If you don't know what your thing is or what works for you yet, just try a bunch of different shit and then see what
Yeah,
you like. And then you'll eventually find out what you do best that way, and just keep doing it until you see what you want.
yeah, that's great advice. I mean, eh, trying is it's funny because you said try a bunch of different things, and I've heard it put differently, which is like fail a lot,
Yeah,
because if you try something and it doesn't work, you might perceive it as a failure, but really you were just you're testing all the flavors.
that's exactly right. Yeah, yeah. It's hard not to be afraid to fail, but yeah, if you think of it that way, with that perspective of just like try a bunch of different things, I feel like it takes the weight out of the word fail.
Right, totally.